Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pro Crastinators podcast. It's your three best friends here once again to talk about stuff that is interesting to us. So we're keeping it a little bit smaller today. It is me, your host, Bestie Boy, the best guy ever. We've also got my good friend Digibro.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
And Ben Saint of Patreon.
Gentlemen.
And our topic for the week is something, I'm going to call this a bottom of the barrel cast. And our topic is... Yeah, go on.
What? Since no one's here, we had to put aside all the good topics, all the incredibly juicy topics we've got lined up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We couldn't get them.
No, some of them are good. I like
some of them are good. Some of them are good, and I hope to get into them more.
Most of them, though. Total shit
total
fest.
Trash. Including, for example...
Shrek versus Harry Potter.
I don't know who wrote that.
One?
I don't know who wrote that in the
I
topic.
don't either.
Wow, some idiot.
It's in there.
Jesus. Shrek versus...
And so, case in point, today's topic, which is never going outside, or, I don't know, being a hikikomori, keeping it in the homestead, not being a social butterfly out in the real world. And, I don't know, thought we'd just share anecdotes, how we feel about it. I don't know, our relationships with the outside world.
Share some hot tips and tricks for all you aspiring hikikomoris out there.
Exactly. So who's got something to say to start us off?
Well...
Digi, I know you have... Okay, Ben.
My room
something.
is pitch dark right now. It's 6 p.m. The sun is out, but my room is pitch black because I got my bathrobe taped to my window. Because I don't want to.
That must be some strong tape.
Because I don't want to. Actually, no, it's not taped. It's wedged into the frame. Whatever.
Okay.
And I got my air conditioner in under it. It does not let any light in. It's nighttime.
Nice.
It's nighttime all the time. Here in Ben Saint's
That sounds
house.
great. And
yes.
so, do you like it dark?
I
for any
can't-
particular reason?
Well, my sleep schedule is off. I've just been staying up until 9 a.m. or staying up until noon the next day drawing, and I don't want to reset. So I just said I'll just ignore what time it is. And now I don't know. Now I'm just I never know what time it is, so I just work until I'm too tired, and then I go to bed. And that's my life.
That's the way to do it.
This is Sleepcast 2.0.
Is it more of a that you don't want to know what time of day it is, or that you can't get to sleep with daylight?
Both. I mean, I always do know what time it is, so that's. I wish I didn't know what time it was, but no, I can't go to sleep when the window's open and there's a sun. I can't go to sleep with the sun.
Oh, Jesus! A fucking garage door opening under me. Is that loud?
A little bit. It's our dad had his office was built into the building, or the room right above our garage, where he would, he's a psychologist. He would have patients there, and all the time he would just get fucked up when we'd come home and open the garage door. I still wonder why he chose to put it there.
I don't understand.
That's an odd choice.
Never mind.
All right. Anyway, Digi, I was curious. I mean, you've talked about this many times before, but you've got a friend who was a professional hikikomori for a while.
Yeah, full blown.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was at a time when, I was in high school, was probably my most, well, I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously right now I'm the most hikikomori because I have no social obligations at all, and when I was in high school, I was going to high school. But, back then was when I was the most, paranoid about going outside, and, I had, luckily at the time, well, luckily for this lifestyle, there was a bathroom that was right at the bottom of my stairs. I had, my room was a room over the garage, which it is as well now, but now I have my own bathroom. But there was a bathroom at the bottom of the stairs, and a door, basically, I would go down the stairs, and to the left is a bathroom, to the right is a door, right?
Yeah.
And I'd keep that door closed for the most part. And I would always, I was always paranoid when I was, because I was doing pretty bad in school and stuff, and just generally my mind was falling apart at this point in my life. The same time as the story I told in the school episode. Right.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So I was I didn't want to see anybody. I would always be worried that if my parents saw me, they'd ask me questions about how school is going.
Very understandable. Sure.
I Yeah, so I would go down the stairs, like, real quiet, and then go to the bathroom, like, real quick and leave. And then I wouldn't go into the kitchen or anything. I wouldn't, like, go into the rest of the house. And this is when I started, like, because I would, like, for drinks, like, because all I drank was Mountain Dew at the time. And I'd get, like, a 2 liter of Mountain Dew, and I'd pour myself, like, I'd have this huge cup, and I'd just fill it up to the top and take it up to my room and just be drinking that, like, all day and not leave, you know? Like, anything to not leave my room.
I know
because I was so worried that if anybody saw me, they were gonna, like, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but do you ever feel like your emotions should be more readable than they are? Like,
yes, I understand that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It took me a long time to realize that, like, my depression was not on my face. Like, because I would always wonder why nobody was asking me what's wrong. Because, like, there'd be times where I'd be, like, at dinner, and I'd just be, like, crushingly depressed and and, like, all I'm thinking is, like, someone please ask me what's wrong, because I feel like I look terrible. But then I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd look completely normal.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
but, like,
you're basically going all full feel guy right there.
Well, I'm the opposite. All my life, people have been asking me what's wrong, even though I'm fine. I'm not kidding. Like, something about my face or something. In school, people would be like, "Oh, are you okay? You look sad." And I'd be like, "What? It's fine."
I've seen a little bit of that. I've seen some moments where I saw you and you looked like you were gonna cry, and then I talked to you and you were okay. At BronyCon.
Yeah. Other people have said that. I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting. But Digi, I can totally relate to when me and Ben were growing up. Like, we would. It's not like we would hide, but, like, we would go upstairs to our rooms, and we knew if we came downstairs and saw our dad might make us do things.
Oh my God.
He might make us do chores, might make us take out the trash, and at the time, I would do whatever it took to avoid having to do that.
Yeah, same here.
I don't want to, okay, if it's the same for you, then maybe this isn't that important. I just... our dad was, I don't want to go on a big thing about our dad, but, like, he always, like, needed... I don't know if you felt this way, Nate, but he always needed me to be doing something. Like, even if nothing needed to be done.
Dude, that was the biggest thing.
Seeing me not doing something would irritate him. Even if nothing needed to be done, it would irritate him so much that he would make me do something totally unnecessary.
Dude, to this day, I'm uncomfortable playing video games unless I'm, like, locked in my room alone. Because if whenever I hear someone come along, I feel this pain, like this sudden panic and guilt, like I'm gonna get in trouble for, like, doing something fun instead of doing the work I'm supposed to be doing.
Dad would be mad.
He made me a fucked up guy.
Dad would be mad just for seeing us play video games, even if it was totally fine.
But all right, I also don't want to get into a big thing about that. But it wasn't enough for him that, like, we do our chores. What he wanted. He wanted us to, like, want to volunteer.
Yes,
to
he
do
was like,
extra things.
Ben,
he would lecture us about this.
It's not enough that you do the things I ask you to do. You should be doing them without me asking.
Dude,
you should be volunteering to clean the yard and do the dishes. Oh my God.
Dude, it's just like an Office Space when that boss was lecturing. Like, yeah, go on.
My dad did something similar. He was never my dad was never as, like, strict with us, but he would always get mad at us that, like, he'd be like, and y'all like never do the dishes, and I'm like, well, you never say do the dishes. Whenever you say do the dishes, someone does them. And he's like, I shouldn't have to be saying to do the dishes. I'm like, well, the thing is that, like, well, it's like not understanding a difference in values, right? Like, to my dad, my dad was in the Navy, and, like, you had to keep your room perfectly clean, right? And he's kind of a neat freak anyways.
I live with a guy in the Navy right now who's kind of the same about, like, our dishes and shit.
And so, like, to him, when he sees mess, he registers it as a problem in his life, that there is that he comes home to a messy house. Whereas for me, I come home to a messy house, and that's just what it is. It's I don't care. Yes. Like, there's nothing about what I'm seeing feels wrong to me.
That is the exact same, and I've felt this the same way about, like, the difference between me and my dad. Like, my dad is like, oh, what are you doing that your room is messy? And I'm like, why shouldn't it be messy? What's the big deal,
there's a
dude?
clear difference in values there. But, I understand how this might sound, and I don't want it to come across like, because I too, like, now that I'm an adult, I understand that, like, when I see that there's things that can be done, it's not like you have an opt-in or opt-out only option to like everything in your life. Like, it's good to contribute to the environment in which you live. That's like a responsible adult thing to do.
Right.
And it's good. And like, to not do it could be construed as generally shitty.
Well, here's a funny thing, because you guys both moved out when you became adults. You
Oh,
both
that is
went off
not.
to
No,
college.
that's not true. Oh, in that sense, yes. In that sense,
Yeah,
yes.
well, you went off to live in dorms.
But we
and
came
stuff.
back for a while.
Me
in and out.
Me and Victor and Shade all still live at home, and at some point, around when Victor graduated, I guess, maybe even earlier, maybe when I graduated, my dad realized this difference, like that he finally it clicked in his head that we were never going to care about certain things,
right?
And so he just stopped asking and started hiring people. Like for the lawn, our house, he has like a whole team of yard workers who come like every weekend or so during the summer.
Ben,
and
have you had to do those stakes on the goddamn perimeter trees anytime recently in recent years? He has us do
like
all the yard work.
Ago. Yeah.
Oh God, my dad has never learned that lesson and never will.
What,
he will
to
insist.
just hire someone?
Well, he would, because people would always say, you have 3 strong, strapping young boys. Why are none of them doing the yard work? You know, he'd always say that and stuff. And I'm like, because I don't go outside. I don't see the yard. And when I do see it, the fact that it's 2 inches longer doesn't bother me. I don't care. It looks fine. It's grass. It's supposed to be long. I don't know.
My dad would he would see me come downstairs and be like, Ben, you're not doing anything. I'm automatically upset about this. Here's some mulch. Go and spread it in the yard. And then I'd be like, well, since you asked, okay. And I go out and I spend, like an hour or two, like fucking spreading mulch on the flower beds or whatever, or something. And then this is the sort of thing he would say. He would come out and look at this mulched yard and be like, now, Ben. He would, like, sort of indulgently, like, smilingly be like, I got him now. Like, now, Ben. Look at this. Look what you've done. Look at this yard. Doesn't this look better? Isn't this satisfying to you? Don't you feel like you've done something good here? And I'd be like, no, shut up. Stop trying to make me care about what I've been doing.
And that's the thing. That's how it ties into this, because for a lot of us, our world doesn't extend to the perimeter, the outside lawn of the house that we're living in. For us guys, we're like we're ghosts living in the shell of the internet.
My world does not extend beyond my room. Like, I mean, like my mom does the dishes, and like these days, and like if there was one thing that I feel the slightest bit bad about not doing, it would be the dishes, because I'll just leave my plates down there and let whoever is going to clean them take care of them. Yeah. But other than that, like as I've grown up, because like we all like get our own food now at this point. Like we're not like meeting downstairs for dinner. I don't go downstairs much. I have no opportunities to mess up anything else in the house. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not my house really, like the yard outside, like if my dad was like the yard is partly your responsibility because you live here, I'd be like, no, the yard is your yard. I don't interact with the yard. It's not my yard. If it was up to me, if I lived in my own place, I would get a place without a yard.
See, that's where our dad had a different mentality. Because we lived in that house with him, he viewed that like, okay, you're benefiting from this lawn. You're living in a nice place. Yeah, so he felt it was appropriate.
But are you really? I mean, the thing about that is, I agree with you that no, I'm not really getting anything out of the yard. And if I had a place, I wouldn't own a yard. So like, it's your responsibility, Dad. I agree with that on the one hand, but on the other hand, like, lawn maintenance contributes to the overall value of the house, and the value of the house is...
Well, I know that's why he cares about it. But
that's just like protecting your investment in the house, basically. I've come to understand that is like the purpose of lawn care is so that the value of your house does not fall.
Okay, sure.
And my dad is constantly like refinancing the house and like doing stuff like that with it. But for me, it was like the second I started paying rent, then it was like, all right, I no longer feel like, because a lot of the obligation is like, well, I'm living here for free, so I should be doing things to help my dad. But if I'm not living here for free, then I'm doing my part. I'm giving you money. You can use my money to pay the guys who mow the lawn.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, like, I live in an apartment. I stay in my room. I do my work. I don't give a shit about the fucking lawn outside. What am I going to do? Go mow the lawn? Why? No, never. Not in a million years would I think of doing anything for the lawn outside. And that's, that's the place I want to be in life, where I don't have to be loaded up with these extra worries about things. I'm much more concerned with using my time to get my fucking work done, because the nature of the work that all of us are trying to do is, like, spend as much time as possible doing your shit so that you can fucking make it out there.
So, I was living in this place where the people on the lease were being evicted, and no one was paying any rent, and it was a very stressful situation. We were all afraid every day that the landlord was going to show up with the sheriff and either evict us or just murder us or something, or just burn the house down. He actually came into our basement uninvited and unannounced one time and cut our internet cord.
Whoa!
Yeah, the landlord actually came in and physically chopped the internet cord in half. We were without internet for several weeks while we were trying to figure out what was going on. Yeah, man, it was fucked. That guy's name was Charlie Tseng, but Charlie was his American name. His actual name was Dragon. His name was Dragon Cheng. Yeah.
Awesome.
Holy shit.
Was he in a Yakuza?
What do you think?
More likely the
What do I
triad.
think? Yeah, the triad. All right, go on.
Anyway, and I also lived with a couple of guys, but one of them was a really stressful, heavily bipolar dude who was always like, he just had weird manic episodes where he would like make us all move furniture around and like get me, and whenever I got involved with him, it was always this big fucking thing. It would always take like an hour and a half of like him deciding where all the furniture was going to go, and like I couldn't leave. I couldn't get out of it. It was very annoying. Anyway, all of this is to say that the stress of this environment made me so hesitant to leave my room that I was actually peeing in 2-liter bottles for a while because I didn't want to walk to the bathroom.
I knew we had to get to that, because that seems, to me, that is the hikikomori technique. That's when you know
really
that you've arrived at hiki.
You know, guys,
I was
that's
for
very
a while.
interesting.
And
when I was...
it
go on.
baffled me. I do not understand why all I would have had to do was walk to the bathroom and walk back. This is like, it was not a complicated thing. It's looking back, I don't understand why I decided this was the right thing to do, but I did, and I won't apologize for it.
You know, that makes some sense to me, but what doesn't make sense to me, to this day, is that when I was a freshman in college, my roommate, James, was like a super alpha drug dealer, and he was a pretty cool guy.
Alpha drug
Yeah, why
dealer.
do you say that he was being a drug dealer make him more
those
alpha?
two things were separate. Those two things were separate. But like
He just happened to be
he wasn't a
drug
bitch
dealer,
at all.
but-
Like, he was on the baseball team. He fucked bitches constantly. He sold a little bit of drugs, and he was a pretty cool guy. We didn't really talk much, but he was all right. But the point is, like, for whatever reason, one day we had a recycling bin. I look in the bottom of the recycling bin, and there's just bottles of piss. There's just bottles of piss down there. And thinking back on it now, in fact, this is just occurring to me right now. I had assumed, I see him do this in the middle of the night sometimes, and I was like, what is this? And so the next day, I took the bottle, put it on his desk, and just said, like, this has to stop. And I didn't even speak to him about it.
Why were you so confrontational about it?
Well, I just didn't know what to do. I was completely
This
thrown.
has to stop.
This has to stop. Yeah. But you know, thinking
Holy
back on
shit,
it now,
dude.
I'm wondering if he was maybe saving clean piss for some sort of exam.
Well,
maybe
he would have been keeping them in the fridge then.
That's true.
He wouldn't have put them in the trash can.
I just think he didn't want to leave the room.
Maybe it's that when he was on drugs, he didn't want to be seen by anybody.
Maybe-
so
That's
he wouldn't
possible.
leave the room.
Maybe
That's
he
That
had.
seems likely to be.
Maybe it was he was saving piss, but like they'd been there too long and they were too old or something, or maybe
Yeah.
he had gotten through the test he was saving up for and he didn't need them anymore or something.
Why would you need that much
Possible.
piss that there were multiple bottles?
There were
You don't need
literally
that much.
several bottles full of piss
I
at the
think
bottom of
it's
this
just-
recycling bin.
I think the best logical reason would be that he didn't want to be outside his room when he was on drugs.
All right,
and he
if
didn't
that's
want
the
people to
case,
see
if
him.
that's
Oh,
the case,
yeah.
then he still was pulling a boner move by not getting rid of them the next day and leaving them there to pile up in our shared room. Fuck you,
good.
James. You're all right though. He was all right.
that's that friend of mine who was a hikikomori. To get back to that story,
Yeah.
because God, we got on a 20-minute sidetrack. You guys are at 25 minutes, right?
yeah,
20
they're about
almost
23
24.
or so. Yeah.
23 or so.
23 or so.
It just hit 24.
Okay. Well, that's right. I think I started my.
You probably
recording
started
before
before us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just making sure because it looked like it was like somehow the time was going faster than it should be. It was why I wanted to stop my recording. Like
Yeah. Okay.
It looked like seconds were going by in half seconds on the recording.
Weird.
Yeah, it was really bizarre looking. But the recording itself looked fine. Like the waveforms looked fine. I don't know. It was fucking weird. Anyway, yeah, when I was in high school and I was talking to my friend, like he had cluster headaches and he just stopped coming to school because like he would get them in the morning and it would just be like a severe debilitating migraine that would happen at like 6 a.m. And it could last up to like hours. And so and it would just happen every single day. Like every day on the nose,
brutal.
he'd get a giant headache. And if you look into cluster headaches, they're like a weird thing that like is not well documented like medically. Like it only became like a known phenomenon like 10 years ago. And
yeah, we had a neighbor who got those who would occasionally she'd get mad at us for like our dog barking too much and aggravating her shit. But man, yeah, it sucks. I wouldn't want to live like that.
It was crazy because like it's something that everyone who had it would be different. Like each migraine would have a different intensity. Some people had it like multiple times a day. Some people had it like, you know, just once a day. Sometimes it was on a schedule. Sometimes it wasn't. Like everyone had a totally different case of it. And they had no idea what the cure was or anything. So he became a part of a experimental like thing to like try to find a cure. And it ended up being literally psychedelic mushrooms. And he hasn't had one since, and that was like 2008 or 9.
He basically got the Eric Andre, feed them LSD, link arms in a circle, scream nightmare, and cured his retardation, or in this case, his cluster headaches.
Yeah, but because of him not going to school, because of the cluster headaches, like from what I understand, because he told me about himself in middle school, and it sounds like he was pretty normal in middle school. Like, he listened to a lot of hip hop, hung out with other kids his age, you know, like just a normal
hip-hop.
Asian middle
That's
school
the gateway
kid.
drug.
Yeah. And then once he got like in late middle school, early high school, he started getting the cluster headaches, and he became a full-blown otaku and just dedicated himself to just sitting in his room watching hundreds of anime and playing. Like he was one of those guys who had played like every video game, seen every anime, read every manga. Like he did all of it because he had nothing but time. And he had no real interest in like making things. Yeah. So he would just sit there and consume all of the information on the internet, essentially. He was a fucking genius. He knew like he managed to get his like he got his GED and he like passed all the tests without even studying. He just like walked in and took them all and got 100.
That's pretty crazy.
He just knew everything. But because of the cluster headaches, he couldn't come to school, and so he would just be in his room all the time. And he told me that, like, before he met me, there was a period where he reached a level of paranoia where he wouldn't leave his room at all. Like, his parents would leave food at his door.
Oh,
you know, like,
hardcore.
And he'd wait till nobody was around and drag the tray in, you know, and then like sometimes he'd get like super paranoid and start pissing in bottles and not even he's like right next to a bathroom.
Crazy shit happens to you when you're isolated.
Yeah. It's just like you get these weird ideas. I mean, there was a few times where I was like, I almost was pissing in bottles. Just I couldn't bring myself to do it. It was weird because like
didn't expect
on
piss
one
to
hand,
be so important in this podcast, but interesting
yeah, no.
development.
I remember a time where like I had like an
cast.
empty 2-liter bottle and I'm sitting there like
just contemplating,
like really
stare,
having to
fingers
piss
arched.
and like holding my dick over this thing, and I'm like, I can't do it.
I'm seeing Digi like push himself back from his computer, like slump down in his chair, and then like his head turns to the side, and then the camera focus changes, and he blurs out, and in the foreground, the bottle comes into focus, and he's just like, "Oh my god!"
The fisheye lens zoom on it. Yeah,
I could never bring myself to just piss in bottles, but I had lots of times where like I got to that level.
Kids at home, don't do it. Don't fucking do it. If you're thinking it might be a good idea, just go to the. It's not the answer to your problems, okay? However much it might seem like it.
What was always funny to me about it is that it's not that weird to piss in a bottle. Like it doesn't it doesn't mean anything. It won't do anything bad.
Dude.
Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally like some people have to. It's like a mountaineering trick to like keep yourself hydrated.
Well, here's the thing. Here's
what
I found about it. Once I started, it was very easy to continue. Once I pissed in that first bottle, I was just like, well, this is okay
Once
now.
you pop, you can't stop.
It really is an issue of it's not the answer to your problems you're looking for. You can do it, and like if you do it once in a while, no big deal.
You know that Casey Green or comic of the dog sitting in a room full of fire, and he's like, "This is fine."
Yes.
Just imagine me sitting in a room full of bottles of piss, with a little coffee cup full of piss, and I look down into the piss-filled cup, and I go, "This is fine."
And then he picks it up and takes a long slurp. You see,
No,
that's where you're going.
it ends
That's the
before
path
that.
you're going down.
Yeah, basically.
I can't
Sheer
decide if I want to
degeneracy.
get into a whole unrelated piss story or if we just want to continue with this.
No, fuck it. Piss cast, dude.
if
Go
it's
for
good,
it.
I don't
Go
care.
for it.
All right. Well, when I was getting my job at Target, I had to take like a piss test at the doctor. And like I was sitting there waiting for them to like call me in, and I'm like drinking a bottle of water, like trying to get myself like good and ready to piss. And I had to, like by the time she called me, I had to pee more than I've ever had to pee in my entire life, right?
Yeah.
So she calls me back, and like there's two women working at this clinic that I'm at. One they're both like fat black ladies, one at the register and one who's taking me back to do the test, and they're both just pissed. Like they both seem like they have no desire to be there or to be alive at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Understandable. Yeah.
she calls me back, and like the room where they do the test is just it's like a bathroom that's like real small. It's just like a toilet and a sink behind you, right? And it's like one of those real narrow ones, but she was like standing right outside the door and had the door slightly open because like I guess they have to make sure you don't try to fuck with the test
that's
or
the goal.
whatever. And I get like really bad like piss paranoia. Like I don't want people to hear me piss. I don't want them to be next to me while I'm trying to pee. Like I've always had a problem with that. I've sort of been curbing it over the last few years because of this incident making me realize how much of a problem it was. But I'm standing there with like the cup in my hand, and I have to pee more than I've ever had to pee, and I cannot make myself pee. And I'm standing there like trying with all my might, like pushing with all the force of my body, and it won't work. And finally, the lady's like, because she keeps like going like,
were
hurry
you like
up
Tom
in there,
Hanks in the Green Mile?
I don't know. I haven't seen the Green Mile.
Whatever.
But she keeps saying like, hurry up in there, and I'm like, I can't make it happen. And she was like, well, you're taking too long, so now you have to go wait again.
What?
So she sends me back out to the because if you're taking too long, you could be trying to rig it or something. So she sends me back out to the lobby and makes me like re-wait for this test.
Oh my God.
And at this point, I'm like, things feel like they're rupturing inside me. Like I actually felt like I was dying because I had to pee so bad, and I'm like sweating and shit. And I'm like, I'm tempted to just go to the bathroom because I have to pee so much, and I'm like, I can't wait for this anymore. Like I'm gonna die,
Yeah.
And then finally, she called me back again, and I had to like pull my pants all the way off and like sit down and like angle my dick right into the bottom of the cup and like push with all of my might. Like, and it never, a lot of the times when like if you feel awkward in like a bathroom, then you might like it might take you a minute to get started, but then once you start, you kind of ease up. You're like, okay, now I feel relieved. This was not like that. Every ounce of it had to be pushed. It was like me standing there like like just
Tom Hanks in the Green Mile. I feel like I'm pissing glass. He said.
Yeah.
Oh God, that is what it felt like. It was a fucking nightmare. And I filled that cup up to the max, and then I had to keep going into the toilet afterwards.
Oh man, that's brutal. That's hardcore.
It was fucking horrifying. But yeah, anyway, about not leaving your room.
It's all related.
So
this is integral to the story of every NEET.
I guess so.
let me tell you. I live in a house with a bunch of guys, and they're pretty cool guys. We're friends. And for a while, I had what I would almost describe as an active social life. I would go out and hang out in the living room and have conversations with people.
Imagine that.
Imagine. But I've been living here for like 6 months now, and I kind of feel like the
honeymoon's over.
It's exactly right. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah.
God damn.
Like,
all right.
like now we've hung out enough. Like I know who they are. They're not surprising me anymore. Like I get it. So I'm just like, okay, well, nice knowing you. Have a good life.
You know, just to be
and
callous for a second.
Now I stay in my room all the time.
I've noticed that all my friends are really boring unless they're doing something new. You know, unless they're exposing me to something interesting that's happening. I'll just, I've known a bunch of people for my entire life, and I don't really care about their shit anymore because it's the same shit they've been doing for years.
I mean, I'm friends with a bunch of people that still come over and like, I don't know, we used to share hobbies, but now I've given up all my old hobbies. All I want to do is do my art and shit.
Yes.
All I want to do.
You guys are describing my life right now.
I've
like
no
I used to be into playing Dungeons and Dragons and playing board games and Magic the Gathering. Now I think that all those things are just big fucking waste of time, and I hate them. Yeah. And I feel like I'm disappointing them sometimes. And they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this. Do you want it?" I'm like, "No, goodbye."
Dude, just yesterday, my coworkers invited me out to go see some fucking rom-com movie, and it just sounded like the absolute worst possible use of my time. And I was like, no, of course I don't want to go. Why on earth would you even think that I want to go?
I would go and see a movie.
Well, see, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I could put in the effort to make this relationship between us just a little healthier, but this movie sounds horrific. There's no chance I'm going to go watch this movie.
And what is the benefit of this relationship long term of these?
The only way it could ever pay off is if I don't know, like get some social group thing going where I feel a rewarding connection with. But I don't. These people are fine. My coworkers are totally cool people, but we definitely don't share interests. So how many months of time am I going to have to like water this little seed to make it bloom into a relationship that I can get something out of? I don't know. I don't got the time for that. I got videos to make.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's why the PCP is such a healthy group, because we stay interested in the shit that each other's doing.
I think that the basis of a great and healthy friendship is that the two members of the friendship mutually benefit one another.
Yeah.
And if hanging out with a friend is just you like emptily indulging in like hobbies that you aren't interested in, or just like shooting the shit, I don't know, drinking beer, waxing about the good old days, what do you get out of that? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Totally agree. Waxing about the good old days is one of the things I least like to do.
The only time I hang out with my friends at all is when I like want to get fucked up drunk, because it's not fun to do.
Which I also don't do anymore because it's a waste of time and it irritates me.
Oh God, I did it yesterday and it was the worst time of my entire life. Never drink alcohol ever again.
You were very sick. You were very sick yesterday.
I sure was. PSP had to be postponed. I mean PCP.
So me and that friend of mine becoming friends,
right?
A huge part of it, like a huge basis of how we became so close, was Welcome to the NHK, the anime about hikikomori.
Which I still haven't seen it, but I want to.
I watched it recently, and it changed my life. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, and it was because at the time, because this was 2007, and that show aired in 05 or 06.
I think it was 05, but yeah, whatever.
I think it ran between them. Either way, like I saw it in early 07, and it was like my favorite show for a long time because I was a borderline hikikomori at the time. I didn't trust people. I was paranoid about everything, and so this show was like, man, this really speaks to my life. But the funny thing is that like, I think one of the most important things about Welcome to the NHK is that even though Sato kind of gets out of it at the end, there's this implication that he's like it's not complete.
Oh, like, dude, the little monsters are still there. They're hanging around trying to get back in.
And if you read the original novel, which is a lot darker,
baby steps, every pony. Baby steps.
The novel's a lot darker than the anime, and at the end of it, like, because there's like an afterword for the like after like a year had passed since he wrote the novel, and the guy was like, all I've been doing is living off the residuals from this book and sitting around and still being a hikikomori. He's like, this did not. He was like, I tried to write this like as a way to maybe write my way out of it, and it did not work.
Oh man!
And since then, he's only written like a few books. Like for a Japanese creator, he is not prolific. Like most Japanese creators are obscenely prolific. He is not at all. He really did just like coop up inside himself and like remain a paranoid man, and like all the books he's written are all about the subject of like paranoia and stuff.
It kills me that anyone has to live like that when I know the problem is solvable. Just with
But, that's how it was for me, though, because I watched the show, and, like, it was kind of... Because my favorite moment in the show, I've brought this up before, is, like, when they meet the other hikikomori, and he's like, I've read every self-help book there is. I could probably write a self-help book, but I'm still a hikikomori. And the only thing that gets that guy out of the situation is when his lifeline's cut off and he has to literally get a job to live. And that's what finally gets him out of being a hikikomori.
God, that scene is so fucking wonderful. Everything about it rules.
That scene's fantastic. And, like, for me, I watched the show, so I understood, like, the nature of what I was dealing with and how to get out of it, but there was no actual... like, thing making me out of it. I was still in high school. I was still miserable with my school situation.
Man, you can't do shit when you're in high school anyway.
Yeah, nothing could change it because, like, I was determined to drop out at the time. Like, all I wanted was to drop out of school and be like, I'm gonna go become a director because school was making me miserable. Yeah, like, no one was gonna let me drop out. You know, like people were constantly telling me no, and I didn't have the balls to just like up and, you know, leave or anything like that, because I would think about running away every day. I was always like, I'm just gonna fucking go off on my own and find my own path, but I didn't know how to do that, so I never did.
I'm gonna go out with a wooden sword and slay mobs until one of them drops a legendary artifact camera, so that I can use this rare camera drop to become a director. That's the only way I can see it working.
So me and I had a nice camera. My dad bought me a nice camera for this purpose, and we never used it. So and then it broke. So life.
I have one of my roommates is kind of a shut-in, and he's a pretty nice guy. But let me tell you two things that stick out to me about him. One, if he gets even a little drunk, he starts to become like more open and more fun. Yeah. And, like, he starts to become, like, kind of a more outgoing guy. But he also, at the same time and in the same stroke, starts to get nervous about the fact that he's drunk. And it makes him worried, and he retreats to his room. So as soon as he starts to get fun and loosen up, he's like, oh, no, I'm loosening up, and then he runs away. The other thing is that, like, he goes out to eat a bunch, but he has very specific things. He won't go to the same place twice.
Ever?
Well, like, in too close proximity. Like, one time he went to this he went to Stop and or Whole Foods.
He doesn't want them to learn who he is, essentially.
Sort of. He went to Whole Foods and he bought a bunch of stuff and he came back and then he was like, oh man, I forgot the flour or something, and I was like,
you know what? I used to be like this too. I would never go. I still am a little bit. Like, I feel like it's weird if I go somewhere that you wouldn't ordinarily go twice in a row.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, if you need it, you know, are you going to go get it? And he's like, no, I can't go back. I was there earlier today. They can't know that I was there twice. That's weird to me. Like, who fucking cares?
This really touches on something for me that I think is maybe like a root cause of this whole issue. Like, having a life, living and doing things with purpose, like with a goal, with a mission, makes like all these weird like depression and like self-confidence issues, they all kind of just fly out the window when you like have to do something. Like for example, if I had promised someone,
if he needed that flour for something important, why would he care about what? First of all, why would anyone care ever about what the employees at Whole Foods think about him? Like, oh, what a weirdo.
Well, that's the thing. It makes no logic, you know?
Yeah, it's an emotional thing.
But if there's something you actually need, if there's an actual good reason that really would compel you to get that flour, you would go back. You wouldn't care.
Some people will rationalize, you know, whatever for whatever fear they have. They'll say, "Well, I guess I didn't really need it. You know, I can go."
You know what the weirdest thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if you really did, you would get it.
Which is the same thing that made.
God damn it!
Okay, go on.
The weirdest thing about my like brand of paranoia when it comes to that kind of stuff, Ben, is that like I always say like I don't care what anybody thinks about me, right? And, like, it's weird because my sense of self-image is, like, I'll dress however I want. I'll look like a weirdo. I don't, like, I'm not bothered that people think I look weird. And yet, when I'm out in public, I constantly am thinking about what do people think I look like. Like, I'm so fixated on myself and, like, because like, if I go out in, like, any kind of My Little Pony attire with the beard I have, I always think I look like a pedophile. And all I can think
is, you're right,
like, everywhere I go, I'm like, does everyone think I'm a weird fucking pedophile? Does everyone here think I'm, like, some kind of rapist? Like, when in reality, they're probably thinking nothing about me. They don't have any opinion, you know?
I got catcalled the other day.
No way.
by a driving bro. Well, because I was dressed like a fucking clown, right? I was wearing I was wearing like two different bright plaids, like a bright plaid orange.
That's how
and
I
green,
dress normally.
A button-down shirt and a bright like starburst colors like plaid long shorts. I looked like with long black socks, so I looked like I was wearing stockings because the shorts were long.
Dude, you were rocking
the
cluster punk aesthetic.
I guess so, dude. I took a picture of me with a giant scale model of Bender from Futurama that we found in the trash the other day. It lives in our house now. Yeah, cool. We have Bender. Bender lives in our house now. He's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I'll post a picture on Twitter sometime. But anyway, the point is, some guy slowed down, passing me in my stupid clown outfit, and he yelled out the window, "That outfit is on point, brother." And I was like,
that's cool.
And I gave him a salute. I just gave him like a thumbs up. Because, like, I could have taken it like, oh, I feel bad that this guy made fun of me. But, like, I don't know.
Well, see,
he's just saying hi.
I hear what you're saying, Ben. But, like, if you watch, and I don't really have much experience with depression, but, like, the NHK guy, Sato, like, when he tells the story about when he first tried to go to college on, like, his first day, like, he didn't even have an experience like that, but he just like was out walking and just like felt so much pressure from everyone's stares at him that he just like completely panicked and just like ran back home.
Even though no one was staring.
Yeah, even though nothing happened. Yeah,
that's what that's like what I related to the most back then was like I would go out and I still feel this way. I always feel like people are like looking at me when they're not, and like I'll actually go out somewhere and like start to feel weird, and I'll look around to see if anyone's looking at me because I'm like to reconfirm that they're not, because I wouldn't do that before. Like I'd walk into Barnes and Noble and I'd just look straight down. Like I was always one of those guys who looked down everywhere I walked, you know? And so I would just like I would just look down and try not to like make eye contact with anybody, and I always think like, oh, I look like the fucking, of course I'm going to the manga aisle because I look like a fucking weirdo. Like, yeah, that's exactly who you expect to see looking at the anime stuff, you know, like, and then I'd get there and no one cares.
Yeah,
like,
nobody
no one
cares.
gives a
nobody
fuck.
cares.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
And even if they did
so much,
care, it doesn't matter.
Like, even today, like when I walk into Barnes and Noble, like my first instinct is like, oh God, I look weird. But then I have to go, wait a minute. I like looking weird. I've chosen to dress this way. I've chosen to have this beard, and I'm proud of myself.
Rocking that
so
alternative lifestyle, like
right. Then I like pick myself up and go like, yeah.
Did I tell you the story one time about how me and Ben were driving and he told me that he wanted to look alternative? And I've been giving him shit about it for years, since he said that.
Because I looked like a weirdo, and
my
rationalization for the fact that I don't know, I had like a weird haircut or something. I think I don't know, I had a weird haircut. That's the point. And Nate was like, "Why don't you get a normal haircut?" And I was like, "If I look normal, if I have a normal haircut, then people will see me and think I'm a normal guy."
Yes,
but that's not me. I want people to see me and understand that, like, I am like a weird guy. God, that sounds stupid.
That's what you told me at the time.
Okay, I'm with you, Ben.
Yeah,
if
a girl saw me and was like, "This guy, he looks like he works a 9-to-5 job." I don't want girls that like guys with 9-to-5 jobs to see me and be like, I want girls who like, I want girls who want a fucking loser weirdo.
That's exactly why I
want that kind of girl to see me and be like, now there's a guy.
I often think about like, hey, if I'm ever going to get into the dating scene, I got to clean myself up. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, if I clean myself up, I'm just going to be selling a false product. Like, this is not who I am.
You need to present what you actually are so that the girls that actually like that can recognize it and be like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, those girls might be harder to come by, but they're the only ones who are worth having.
There's no
otherwise
point
you're just the veil's gonna come off pretty quick.
There's no point attracting a girl who's looking for something other than what you are.
Well, there's a lot of girls out there who don't know what they want. You know,
that's true.
I'm just saying.
I guess so.
Just saying.
But
whatever. I hear your point.
You see my point.
I hear your point. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I just think it's funny to say, "Oh, Ben's into that alternative lifestyle."
Well, but it's true though. It is. I do. I don't lead a normal life. I don't have a job. I'm a fucking artist. All right,
Ben, you got to get in on the cluster punk aesthetic. Here's how you become a cluster punk.
Yeah, tell me.
Everything you wear has to be either pajamas or plaid. Well,
I am wearing all plaid, but
or an anime shirt or some kind of gay like video.
I've heard that what's in this year is pale wave.
What the fuck is that?
pale wave?
It's just like you wear like pastel t-shirts, just pastel colors.
Right.
Pale wave is the movement, is the fashion movement this year.
I haven't heard that word for it, but
yeah,
no, man, I'm all about like, because all I wear is pajamas, either pajama pants or pajama shorts, and then if you want to go full clusterpunk, which I do not have the balls to rock this in public anymore. I have done it before, but it's to put your plaid shorts over your pajama pants.
Oh my god!
And the reason for this technique is that the reason for this technique is that a lot of pajama pants don't have pockets.
Kids, do not try this at home.
If you want to wear your pajama pants that don't have pockets, but you want to have pockets, then just put on a pair of shorts over your pajamas, and they have pockets.
Why would you Why even wear the pajamas? Why not just wear shorts?
Because maybe it's cold outside, and you don't want to wear pants.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
right.
like I said, this is something that, I mean, there's enough ways to not do this that I would rather just change my pants so that people don't fucking laugh at me openly in public. But
maybe don't be a scrub and get some pajama pants with
But at the same time, if I wanted to go full clusterpunk, this is what I would do. I mean, because when you think about it, because that's what punk is all about, is looking like an absolute freak in public and embracing the fact that people are staring at your crazy gauges and giant spiky hair. You know? So if you really, to me, the moment it goes from just clusterfuck to clusterpunk is when you decide to go all out and wear the shorts over the pajama pants. That's when you've gone full clusterpunk.
I kind of like it.
I like it too.
Because that is, that's that alternative lifestyle that I'm always seeking, that I'm always questing after. Back.
And Ben, I think a lot of this relates to the peacocking of pickup. Lingo.
Yeah, I was
standing out is a lot better than blending in if you're trying to get people's attention.
Yeah, standing out is better than blending in. Just like you gotta be noticeable. The thing, okay, what you were saying before about feeling like people are staring at you even when they're not. I get that. I felt that way before. So insecure. I don't really I don't really feel it so much anymore. Now, the worst thing about going out and leaving the house is girls. I hate seeing them. When they don't love me.
You know what?
I agree.
I'm
what
completely with you, Ben.
If I see a cute girl and I'm like, you idiot. You stupid idiot. How do you not recognize that I am the coolest?
Oh, yeah.
No,
you've never met me before. We've never said two words together, but that's your fault.
Whenever I see a cute girl out, it's always when I become extremely self-conscious about everything I'm wearing and what I look like. That's when I'm like, because all I can think is, like, in this exact moment, if I looked right, then I'd be able to talk to her and it would seem normal. But at this moment, if I talk to her, I will look like a rapist. So I don't want, like, it's never a problem until I see the cute girl and this is the exact emotion. It's, God damn it. Like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, the snap of the shit. If I knew she was going to be here today, I would have dressed in pants,
The thing about talking to girls in public is you always look like a rapist. You can't not look like a rapist. You just gotta accept, I'm gonna go and talk to this girl and look like a rapist. That's just
true.
Part and parcel of the fucking thing. I don't know.
Somebody's doing the raping.
I agree with you guys on both those. I have I hate talking about these things because it makes me look not cool. But yeah, these are real issues I have.
But there's no right outfit.
I love that
right?
you're still concerned about looking cool.
I'm always concerned about looking cool.
Nate is the only one that hasn't admitted
hey
to
guys,
wanting to
let's
pee in
make
a
a podcast about not leaving your room. His idea, and he's concerned about looking cool in the Hikikomori podcast.
Well, you can spin almost anything to sound cool if you say it the right way, but it's hard to spin deep personal insecurities to sound cool.
Maybe deep personal insecurities are the coolest thing of all.
Or what girls are into these days. Damaged men.
Let me give you guys some more hiki stuff. So when I started hanging out with that friend of mine, both of us were super socially awkward, but I was a little bit less than him. Like I would often say that, like, in terms of personality, I was the Yamazaki to his Sato. Like,
I don't know what any of that means.
If you've seen Welcome to the NHK, Sato is the main character, and he's full hikikomori, never leaves his house, never talks to anyone. Up. Yamazaki is his neighbor, who is like borderline, but he still goes to college, and he's more like just angry at the world, like less completely unable to talk to people, and more like has this burning hatred for everyone kind of thing, you know, because of the fact that he's seen as abnormal or anything. So and he's the one who in the end is able to totally turn his life around as soon as he figures out what he's trying to do.
Yeah, though he kind of just falls into it as it happens.
Right. But like he like my friend who is the hikikomori, like when we started hanging out, because like I said, I first met him because he just happened to show up to school with a Lucky Star booklet. And so I was like, holy fuck, someone else knows. This is early 2007.
Yeah,
Lucky Star wasn't even done airing yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was done airing, but only by a couple months. So like seeing someone holding a Lucky Star book was crazy. And so I asked him for his Yahoo Messenger name. And that was the last day he ever came to school. So if I hadn't asked him for that then I never would have seen him again.
What a fateful meeting that was. At
some point, I started talking to him about Welcome to the NHK, and that's how we became like good friends, because we both like related to that like paranoia and everything. You know, and I was someone who completely understood like all the stuff he was going through that to anyone else would have seemed insane. To me was like, yeah, man, I'm an otaku. I know all this stuff because I've also watched Welcome to the NHK and Genshiken, and like I relate to these things, you know. So we sort of bonded over that stuff, and then like I would come over to his house, and then like at some point, you know, we started hanging out, so we would go out to go get food and stuff, and we'd like go to Taco Bell. He could not order food. Like he could not.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have that problem.
Yeah, I've been talking to a couple people who say they have that issue.
I don't get it.
Growing up, I had an issue with ordering food, not so much in the way that it was a paranoia over talking to the people, but because I was used to my parents doing it, and it felt anything that like my parents had routinely done in front of me felt kind of more like official or something, like something adult.
It's like off limits for kids. You have to like be trained or something for that shit.
Exactly.
I do feel stupid when I order food, but not like in an anxiety.
I love ordering
I love
food
it now.
now.
I'm the best food order in the world
absolutely.
now.
I love it because I'm so good at talking, because like I have a very clear voice and I can communicate well with people, and I can make sure, because I have friends who will get like really frustrated when someone gets their order wrong. Like this friend we're talking about, like at the time he couldn't even order food. Like he wouldn't talk to the people. He would have me do it for him. So I would go up and like order both of our orders and bring it out to him and stuff. And then over time he, you know, learned how to talk to people. Now he's like pretty normal. Like he has a job now. He's living a normal guy's life, you know, cured of all the things he had before. So he's got lots of responsibilities and shit, but he's still, when he goes out to order food, and now he has a loud, clear voice because he trained himself to have one. Yeah. He's a big guy, so he can project really easily, you know. He'll go out to order food, but if they like seem confused, he'll just leave. Like if it seems like they can't figure out what exactly he wants, he'll be like, you know what, forget it, and he'll leave because he can't deal with like misunderstandings and stuff. Whereas I will sit there. I'll sit there and like go through everything. I'll be like, no, it's one quesadilla with beans, no rice, you know. And I love doing it. Like it's, to me, it's fun and hilarious. So yeah, like, but so yeah, for a while, like it was funny because it actually helped me in a way because I would have to speak for him. So like, you know, I had to be more social to compensate for his complete lack of ability to be social. You know, like I had to start learning how to take orders or to give orders at places for him, because no one was going to do it for me because he's clearly not going to, you know. So we kind of had like a symbiotic relationship where I started getting a little more out of my shell because of him, and then him because of me. And I, you know, through hanging out with me, he became friends with all my friends and eventually learned like to, you know, like people and talk to them.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we got out. But that has not stopped the fact that I still spend most of my time in my room.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. I want my room to be cold, dark, dry. I want it to just become a tomb. I just want to live. I just want to become a living corpse. I want to be a lich.
I thought you were gonna say
A lich.
tombstone.
Okay.
I want to. I want to be a
man,
lich
no.
more than anything else. That's the fantasy creature I'd most like to be in. I just want to live in like a fucking stone, cold
Steve Austin.
Steve Austin. Yes, and I just want to be fucking frozen in time forever in my room.
You mean so basically what you're saying is you want to be able to do your art stuff and not have to worry about the other bullshit.
I have a terrible I mean, I'm sure everyone can relate to this. I have a terrible fear of the passage of time and the inevitable end of all things. And what I would like more than anything else is just to freeze time forever.
For you guys, do you ever for me, like, part of my logic behind not going outside much is fewer chances to die?
There's that.
Like, because when I leave the house, all I can think about is, like in my room right now, like, the number of things that could kill me is, like, I could choke on a few things, I could trip on a few things, and
if your entire house collapsed, you might die.
Or something, some freak accident happened. But, like, if you're just out driving, there's, like, hundreds of ways you could die every second.
Totally.
You know, like,
totally.
all I think about when I'm out is, like, or even when I'm at a place, I'm just like, what if this place gets shot up? Or what if I'm walking in the middle of an area where a gang fight's about to break out?
I don't live in the nicest place personally right now.
Yeah.
I'm when I'm on the bus, I'm always picturing, like, which one of these guys is gonna be the or girl is gonna pull out the gun and just start blasting fools. Who is it gonna be? It's definitely someone. This time. This is the time.
The guns are everywhere.
There was a time in, like, my late teens where I happened to, like, I was first getting introduced to, like, grimdark concepts, like realizing, like, how dark the world is, because I'd never grown up on, like, dark media, and I saw, like, the ending of American History X, and then I saw all of Boys in the Hood, and after seeing Boys in the Hood, I had this, like, long time fear that the way I'm going to die is that I'm just going to get caught up in a gang shooting. And I knew someone online who, like, had lost a brother that way, where, like, her brother had just been walking down the road, and, like, he was passing by a house, and the people on the porch, and this car that was, like, going to do a drive-by on the people on the porch, he just happened to be in that spot when it happened. So, like, a gang fight broke out around him, and he got caught in the crossfire and died. And I was like, this is how I'm going to go.
That's gay as hell.
Yeah. But I always thought it would happen at age 44. I don't know why.
We'll see.
I was like, I really thought I'm gonna end up dying at age 44 in a gang shootout
20 years ago.
With.
Even aside from the issue of death, I'm very concerned. Like, all right, in the timeline of my life, I really want to never be maimed or mangled. I really want to get to the end of my life without any kind of like any like limbs being severed or anything like that. I know, weird, right? What a weird desire to have. So yeah, I'm like, I gotta stay. I gotta
opinions, Ben.
My alternative lifestyle. I gotta stay.
Limbs.
I gotta stay home. I gotta not go anywhere because that's the safest way. You know, that's how I can make sure as much as possible that I'll never suffer any catastrophic injuries, because they would hurt really bad, right? A catastrophic injury
even
would hurt.
Worse, even worse than the
really
pain
bad.
is the, like, God, imagine if your drawing hand got blown off or something, you know? Like, that's
God.
it. You're done.
Oh my God, I would be done if my right
I do
hand
often
were
think
destroyed.
about, like, the gamble of, like, which body parts am I, like, if I had to lose
If you had to
anything,
choose one,
take a leg.
Take a leg.
Know? Like,
take a leg, man.
Yeah,
I could
definitely
probably
take a
make
leg.
it without the legs. The hands would be a huge problem. The eyes would be, or ears would be just complete done. You know, if I lose my eyes, anime's out. I'm gonna become.
Oh my God, no.
But here's what I also do. I also think a lot about, like, if I lose these specific parts, what am I gonna? Because if I lose my eyesight, I'm going directly for
music.
Well, I'm gonna learn. Yeah, first I'll cover music. I'm gonna learn Japanese, like how to like hear it pretty quick, and then I can listen to, like, drama CDs and stuff.
Oh my
which is
God.
like a whole avenue I've never had before.
Like audio dramas and stuff.
Yeah.
And like anime tie-ins. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'll become a huge audio drama, audio book guy, like analyze those. But the biggest problem is just that I have to have someone like hit record and upload for me.
Yeah, you need
like,
people.
I would
You need
have to
people.
have someone to do that stuff. But that's what I would do. I would become like an audio only guy, or if I lost my hearing, I would become like a manga guy probably.
Yeah, that's the smart move.
Dude, yeah. Yeah. I'm
All
glad
right.
you've got all these contingencies planned out.
Oh yeah, man. I think about
You
all
hear
this
that?
shit.
You hear that, haters? Even if you destroy Digi's eyes and ears, he'll keep on doing it. He'll never
Yeah,
stop.
I dare you to do it. I dare you to do it.
Yeah,
Just see if it stops him. You know, this whole time, I haven't really said it up till now. I've been waiting for a moment to interject that I'm definitely like the least by far hiki of anybody in the procrastinators group, except maybe like Tom, because he's got a job now too. Because I have a wage slave job that I work every week 9 to 5, and
Yeah.
but I very much feel nonetheless like a hiki because. Despite doing that, I have no connection to anything I'm doing there, and I'm only really... it's not like I'm uncomfortable at work, but I want to say I'm only really comfortable when I'm at home. That's when I feel like I get to be myself, and I'm doing
On
the
your
things I
days
want
off,
to
do
do.
you typically leave the house at all?
No, not at all. So there you go.
Ben,
You know, there's
Ben,
your evidence.
how often do you leave the house?
Oh, less than once a week, I think.
Less
Oh my
than
God.
once a week.
Like, at all?
To get groceries or something?
Yeah, like at all.
Holy shit.
There you go.
See, the funny thing about this is that I leave the house several times a day exclusively to eat.
No,
Because
I never do that.
I'm a huge foodie, so like I can't stand like just today I went out before we started this show.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and drove all the way to a pho restaurant, and I got takeout pho just because I wanted to understand what takeout pho was like.
Uh-huh.
It's weird, incidentally.
I believe you.
I am thinking about leaving the house later today because I'm all out of diet soda. I haven't had any diet soda in like 2 days, and it's making me very irritable.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, because all I drink is diet green tea, which I get from Wawa, and I only buy like 2 or 3 bottles at a time, so like every other day I am guaranteed to go to Wawa to get tea, and then, while I'm there, I might get something to eat.
But
or just go somewhere
like
else.
this weekend, I haven't left the house because I just ordered food from Grubhub, instead of doing anything else. That's what I do.
Oh, uncharacteristically, I did actually 2 days ago. I went to the Cirque du Soleil.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, which is not something normal, but just as it so happens, we've got a temporary roommate subletting a room, and she is a roadie with the Cirque du Soleil, and she got us all tickets to a show. Yeah, I didn't want to go. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it.
I bet
but
you did.
my housemates banged on the door, and they dragged me out of bed. They made me come because they had 4 tickets, and they weren't going to waste one.
Yeah, okay.
And I went.
How was
and
it?
It was great.
I bet it was.
It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I realized on the ride home, oh man, there was a
I kind of
guy
want to do
Yeah.
hearing Ben just say outright it was great
Yeah.
from Ben makes me like
Yeah.
now I want to see
Right?
Cirque du Soleil. It's
No,
the best
it was.
endorsement I've ever
I
heard.
thought I would be sitting there like, oh, this is dumb, this is terrible. Why am I wasting my time? But no, they're like, I mean, not every act was brilliant, but like a bunch of them were really good.
We've been
there was a
talking a lot of
clown.
shit.
He didn't look like
Yeah.
a clown. He was just a guy in a purple bowler hat. But you could tell. I could tell that what he was doing was clowning. I think that guy may have gone to clown college because he had like he gave the air of like having like an air of professionalism about his
Awesome.
clowning.
Awesome.
And that the fact that I could tell that he was a clown, despite the fact that he wasn't dressed like one. Oh man, it was very impressive. And also on the ride home, I realized this is important. I realized that the Cirque du Soleil, the Carnival of the Sun, must be the mortal enemy of the Dark Carnival.
Whoa! That's so
I think-
true. Oh, thank
I
God
think
Jess
that-
isn't here. Jess would be fighting
I wonder
tooth
if
and
that's
nail.
why they named it that. I wonder if that's
Maybe,
why it's
man.
called the Dark Carnival.
I doubt it, but maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
the final battle, the apocalypse comes. Jesus and Satan, a Cirque du Soleil versus the Dark Carnival.
Yeah, that's one of the many factors. We've been talking a lot of shit about like going out and how we always stay home and stuff, but it's a lot of it is kind of in our little bubble, we kind of miss cool things that are going on outside because our focus is elsewhere. But there
I
legitimately
didn't
is
hear
a
about
lot of
Brexit
great
until
stuff.
it was happening.
Well,
There
no,
go.
you know,
there's some
here's the
cool
thing.
stuff going on out in the real world. You know,
Well, I learned about Brexit all the way through because
Oh,
I
yeah.
watch a lot of YouTube videos and sit on Twitter all day, so
Yeah,
I knew everything
yeah.
about Brexit. But
and I listen to the
like,
news.
here's the thing though.
Nerd.
Like, yeah, I hate the news.
NPR
I'll
on the
never
radio
switch on
on my way into work. NPR on the radio every day. It's great.
Here's
Yeah,
the
I do
thing.
kind of like NPR.
Like when I was like a teenager and like in my early adulthood, I like really had this mindset like once I get money, I'm gonna go out all the time. Like I'm gonna do all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
especially if a big part of why this never happened is because my friends never ended up having a lot of money. You know, but like I have enough money right now. I could do anything. I could go any day of the week. I have the time. I have the money. I could just go somewhere. And what I eventually realized is that I don't like any of the stuff you can go do.
What about
like,
music shows? You like shows?
there's no cool bands come here. Because I've done a lot of the stuff that like you just go to go, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've done a lot of the like random events. Because for a little while, early last year, you guys might have heard this because you both listened to some episodes of Digibros.
Yeah.
When Victor was working for this company called Yaloha, where it was like they would send him to random events around like the area and like just have him take little films and like make little 2-minute videos out of it. And they'd pay him like what was it, like $25 a video, because it usually took him like an hour. He would just like drive out there,
okay.
film stuff for an hour and come back.
Yeah, that's good.
And send them the videos. But like I went to a couple of those with him, and it's like on the one hand it was really fascinating to realize that there's like always an event happening around here. But all of those events are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like it would be like, all right, there's a little music festival happening in like a lot in Norfolk, right? It's the city next to mine. There's literally like on the edge of a neighborhood, there's just a spot where there isn't a house, and they just like put a little like fence around it and set up a stage and had like a little music festival there. And it was that little lot and then the restaurant across the street. And like the inside one was like metal and the outside one was like jazz. And it was like, it was fascinating to know it was happening, but none of the bands were that good. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was hot outside. It was a bunch of fucking hippies out on the lawn. No one's doing anything. You go inside and it's like, I don't want to pay for beer and tacos. And I don't give a fuck. Like, it was cool to know it was there, but I would never go again because I didn't get as much out of it as I would have got out of sitting at home watching anime for an hour.
You know, dude, I totally hear you on that. And... You know, my life right now is kind of lonely because I really only do things by myself or online with you guys. Like, I would really love to have in my life a physical thing I can do with the people that I like. And that's why the, Horseshoe House, the Analysis HQ is such a great dream for me personally, because being around people I like, just being physically around people, I think is a healthy thing that I don't do at all right now.
Yeah,
and that would be a life upgrade, as Christian would say.
There have definitely been times where like having my friends around is cool because like you know when there is something that we all want to do, then we could do it. But like these days, most of my friends are either working all the time or they have no money or they're just fucking lazy and shitty and don't want to do anything. So like, but I mean, like my dad is a total outdoorsman, right? And him and Victor will have periods where like my dad goes on like 20-mile bike rides like every day, right? And he'll be like, Vic, let's go for a bike ride, and they'll go do that. Or there was a while where he got into like paddle boarding, and like every weekend he'd be like, let's go paddle boarding, and they'd go do that. And I'm just like, none of that like I don't want to do that because all I'm gonna do, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go out. Or there was one time we went canoeing and kayaking with like all our friends. Like my dad took everybody out, we all went canoeing, right? And it's like we rode out into the middle of this lake, and then we hung out there for a little bit, and we rode back. It took a couple hours, and it was like, it was kind of fun, and it's cool to have that memory, and it was cool because all my friends were there. But the end result was that I was in pain for days, because not only did I get sunburned everywhere, but like it was way more intense of a workout than like I was ready to handle, you know? So like, there was like days of lost productivity, and I mean that one I would do again because it was everyone. But like the idea of going out to do that every weekend is not at all appealing.
Well, you know, dude,
it was special because it was special, you know.
Right, it was a one-time
thing,
and that made it cool. But like, that's the thing. I feel like the only way to like I think there's a mental image I had as a kid that there was all this stuff going on that was interesting, or places to go. Like you got like I live right less than 45 minutes drive from Busch Gardens, which is one of the biggest and best theme parks in the country, right? Phenomenal theme park. I hate roller coasters. I hate walking around. I hate overpriced food. You know, like going there. It like as a kid, it sounds, because it's such a big, unique thing you can go do. It sounds like a great time. And there was a period when I was like 20 where I was like, what if all of us, me and all my friends, what if we all got season passes to Busch Gardens and we could just hang out there all the time? Because like as a kid, you're like, I only get to go here once a year. I'm gonna ride all the biggest rides and make sure I do all that stuff. But there's tons of like just hanging out stuff to do there. Sure. So I was like, what if we all had season passes and we just hung out here all the time? And then it was like, none of us really want to do that. It's like a 45-minute drive. And what are we going to do? Eat some Wiener Schnitzel and we'll get bored, you know? It's just, there's so many things that sound cool, but if you do them more than like once a year, then it quickly loses its luster.
You know, dude, society has changed. You know, we're at a point where we have tons of stuff that you can do. You can do whatever you want with your life for the most part. If you're a lucky person, you're born in a good family, you have a good job, whatever. So things like, interpersonal relationships, they take energy, they take effort, and you need to work on them with the people that, are in your life if you want to keep that healthy, which is an important thing about being a human and having a good human life, which I want to do before I die. And which is why I think something like setting yourself up in a situation where you're kind of forced to do the things that you want to do but don't necessarily always make the time for is kind of a healthy thing. So like setting up your business scenario, like what I hope to do with us guys, similar to like the Red Letter Media guys, they have just the perfect situation in my mind. Like they're all friends, they work together on these like funny creative videos, they're successful on YouTube, they're filmmakers as they want it to be. They just released their first actual movie not too long ago. Everything about that setup.
Side note, I bet it sucks, but go on.
I want to say, I haven't seen it yet.
That
I'd
wasn't
like
their
to see
first
it.
movie. They've made a few movies, but they have been working on Space Cop for like 12 years.
There you go. They made a bigger movie sort of thing, and it came out. And it's just you have to put energy into stuff, and you're going to get things out of it. And these days, the way our world is set up, human relationships are definitely one of those things that we have to like work on, and that's why it's important to structure your life in a way where you can get those things out of it. And currently, I haven't put in like any work into getting any of that like human relationship stuff. I don't know anyone in the city. I barely talk to my coworkers at all, and it's because
don't you have housemates?
Yeah, my roommate Ben is sort of a friend, but we never hang out. And he's a pretty isolation-y guy, just like I am.
When I moved into my current place, I moved in with a bunch of, like I said before, I live with a bunch of guys that are all pretty cool and are friends. Mm-hmm. And I was, like you said, being in that situation did facilitate a lot more human interaction, social scenarios.
And like you said, it was good for a time.
In recent weeks, I've sort of gotten a little bit like, well, I've kind of had enough of it for a while.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't feel much motivation for it anymore.
If there was something kind of forcing you to mix with them, it'd be there's
although
something good.
That is why I got forced to go to the Cirque du Soleil, which is
right. Like your life was probably better because you would
Nate,
do that.
I think for me, if you're passionate about anything, it justifies all of it, right? Like
sure,
I think if I was really into like skating, like my mom when she grew up was always at the skating rink, right? Because it was a popular thing to do back then. You went out to the skating rink, everybody skates in circles for hours, and you listen to music, and we have one near our house. And there was a while where my mom was doing roller derby, where
cool,
you know about roller derby, right?
I was going to ask if she was into roller derby.
Yeah, she got into it.
I don't understand it, but I like it.
I mean, she got into that like this was like 10 years ago, like not as like she was at the skating rink all the time as a kid, and then as an adult or as a mom, she became a roller derby person until she couldn't do it anymore because because she's like got injuries and she's too damn old.
Shit,
to be doing full
hardcore
contact sports.
roller derby. Yeah.
Yeah, but she got into roller derby, and you know, we go out there and like watch her matches sometimes and stuff. And like, my mom is the type who will never leave the house if there's not something to do. You know, like she'll go out if there's some kind of social gathering or if there's some reason for her to be there. But if not, she will completely stay inside for weeks on end, not leaving the house, just playing Facebook games, you know? Like, but when she was into roller derby, she would go out to the skating rink all the time, you know? And so, so I think that for me, it would be the same, where like, the times when I've gotten out of the house the most is like when me and Victor were working out together, you know, it's like we're going to the gym every other day. So like it's not so much that we're going out of the house just to get out of the house, but because there is a thing to do out of the house.
Right.
But when there's nothing like that,
we create
it's like,
those things for yourself pretty much, you know?
And if there's nothing like that, like for me, I have to be like passionately interested. And there have been sports and like things that I would be interested in doing that, or even just like esports, like, because my friends are super into fighting games, right? They have been for a couple years now. Like the main thing all my friends do is play Street Fighter and shit. And for a long time, I thought Brandon Tolentino was gonna like try to go pro because he's like incredibly skilled at fighting games. But because there's not really much of a like pro culture around here, and no one he could practice with who's like good enough, then it's just never happened. And he's still obsessed with fighting games. But like for me, it was always like, man, if all my friends got into like trying to do this professionally, then I would feel like a desire to get into it and like to leave the house and go to tournaments and stuff and like do all this shit. But as it stands, whenever they go to a tournament, like when they actually do, they're usually not even to compete, just to watch. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like,
well, see, that's why I say it takes work. You know, it's about finding things that fit into your life. Because, you know, it might not be true for everybody, but I think overall, like if you are in a situation that kind of makes you mix with more people and be more social in general, your life is generally going to be better. You know, it's going to shoot off endorphins in your brain. It's just a rewarding. At the end of the day, you feel satisfied.
If I had one friend who was
least,
like,
maybe I'm just projecting because I want all these things in my life. You know,
if we all moved in together and just one friend of mine was like, dude, let's get really into tennis, I'd be like, done. Because like what you have to, like it's kind of, the thing is, I would never do it by myself because it's an expensive thing to do, right? You have to rent court space a lot of the time. You have to
buy a racket, buy balls,
buy a nice racket, buy some decent balls, buy, you know, the right shoes and stuff. Not too expensive, but it's a costly hobby, and it's not something that I see myself like forcing just myself to do. Like if I was the only one who cared, it wouldn't be worth it. But if I had a friend who was like, dude, let's the two of us hang out every Saturday, practice tennis, and just get really good at tennis and have fun playing it, I'd be like, yeah, dude, let's fucking do that, you know? But it has to be like that, you know? And I guess I missed the boat on this because, like, my dad is really into running and cycling, and he does all kinds of races. Like, he goes out every few months, he goes out to a race, you know? Like, and that's something that's the kind of passion I'd be looking for. I don't like running or biking that much, but if my dad had that kind of passion for like a sport I was interested in, like tennis, then I'd be like, yeah, Dad, let's go out every weekend and do tennis, you know, like, and I feel like I've always wanted that. I've always wanted a friend with whom I could get into something other than my job, because like, as it stands, I get so obsessed with my work that I don't do anything that doesn't in some way pertain to it, you know? And it's like, as a result, my life becomes this like living hell of just anytime I don't have work that I'm doing, I'm thinking about the work I should be doing, you know, which is, I don't think it's a better use of time. Like, I don't think you find ideas more often by thinking about them more, you know? Like, I don't think sitting around all day, like there's sometimes I'll sit around an entire day just going like, what if I did this?
You know,
what if I did that?
Humans,
this seems like a good
humans
idea,
are funny things. We're pretty much at the point in civilization where we really need to trick our brains into doing things that make us happy. You know, it's like
it's hard.
We've reached, and it is like, I think a lot of the depression that people feel these days, that is in things like, you know, NHK and NEETs and stuff, comes from like all your base needs are met, but your higher level ones on the Maslow's hierarchy, like you're just not self-actualizing, and it kills you, and you're not socializing enough, and these things torment you. So we have to figure out the ways to fucking, you know, solve in your own life.
Times, like, that's why I I get so excited when there's actually like a new video game that I legitimately love enough that I'm willing to say, fuck it, I'm gonna play. Like when I played through Dark Souls 3 and like all the Souls games, like with Dark Souls 3, I was prepared for months beforehand that I was like, I'm gonna get all my work done before this game comes out because all I'm gonna do is play this game, and it was glorious. It was like 3 or 4 days of just sitting around playing Dark Souls 3 with no other cares in the world. I did not give a fuck what it was going to eventually... Like, I thought I would make a video out of it. Yeah. And then after I finished the game, I spent like a month and a half agonizing over whether or not I should make a video about it. And I didn't end up doing it. Because in the end, I was like... I'm just so desperate to make everything I do a part of my work that like the idea that I spent 3 days just enjoying myself is like a nightmare.
And Jesse talks about that all the time himself too. He's breathing.
Yeah, and then like I felt lucky when Doom came out because like I played through Doom and I loved Doom, and everyone else wrote a review of Doom, and I was like, cool, I will never have to talk about this. Like, there's no possible thing I have to say about this game that 40 other people didn't say. So it was just pure, Doom! That's it. There was no complication.
It's always interested me that you have this mentality about, like, somebody out there has to make, like, the intelligent, get the points across about what makes Doom or any game or anime out there, good. I don't think about things that way, but it's interesting.
Like if someone else has said the thing,
well, I'm not going to write a video that other people have already written. And like, I watched, because like with Doom, it was like literally the day the game came out, there was like a 40-minute Noah Caldwell-Gervais video about it, and then by the end of the week, it was like fucking. Who was the second person I saw cover it? I don't know. There was someone else I saw, and then like a third person, and I was like, these guys have already said anything I would ever want to say about Doom. There's nothing left for me to say. I read some more articles, then later down the line, like Aaron Signal made a video, Super Bunny Hop finally made a video, and it's like, there is nothing left to say about Doom. Why would I ever cover it?
Bunny Hops was surprisingly critical, too. I was interested by that.
His was, I think because he says in the video, he said himself, everyone else has talked about this game, so
Doom.
Let's just get
I
into
played
the
Doom, and I'm going through all these hallways and killing all these demons, and I'm just having so much fun with it. It's a really great game, and I'm really enjoying myself.
Good George impression.
He even said on Twitter later, like, people were like being like that he wasn't trying to like say it's a shitty game. He's like, the game's amazing. I just wanted to talk about the critical points of the game.
Yeah.
Because everyone else has already talked about the game.
So
why would I say what they're all saying? Even then, the first half of his video when he was praising it was all shit I'd heard before. So I was like, get to the point, get to the criticism. I just want to hear the bad shit, like, I got it. But yeah, I will not, if someone makes a video and I watch it and it says what I would have said, then I'm like, cool, I don't have to make the video because I can literally just link people this one. Like, I could just make a video saying, hey guys, all of my thoughts on Gurren Lagann right over here. Go watch Best Guy Ever's video,
Yeah.
Which is not true. I still have a few that I actually want to do on that show.
Yeah, it was never intended to be a, summation of everything.
Let me tell a story. Let me tell you a shitty story.
And while you do that, I'm going to go
life.
take a piss. I'll be right back.
All right, fucker.
I want to hear it, but I got to go.
Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was living at home with my parents, and it was a nightmare. And I could not wait to get out. And then January of last year, I got the chance to move in with some friends in this house in like the Boston area. And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to be living in like a city. There's going to be social events occurring. This house is like full of people. They host parties there. They do things. It's going to be a great time, and I'm going to meet girls and bang them. It's going to be...
Anytime you go into an event with that expectation, it's not going to happen.
It wasn't a specific event. It was the idea that there would be events, and that at least some of them, I would bang girls. Anyway, I was so excited. I was like, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to have
You're going to become well laid.
No! and so I went... I moved... And then... In that January, I moved into this house, and then there was the whole thing I've mentioned before with the landlord, and it was everyone moved out. It was just me and, like, these two weirdos, and there were no parties, and they would occasionally invite me to, like, little mini concerts or like screenings of obscure movies, and I would always go. I would be like, oh my god, a social event, I will go and meet a girl and have sex, and I always wanted that so bad. Like I wanted that life, but like it would always be shit. It would always be, I would get there and it would be like some concert, and I would get to the venue and there would be someone playing in like this little gallery or something, and I would just have to stand there and nod my head, pretend to care about this music that I wasn't interested in, wait until the event was over, mill around and socialize with a bunch of fucks, and then leave. Or it would always be all guys, or it would always be a weird crowd that would make me uncomfortable, or there would always be something. There would always be something that ruined it. I mean, I don't know, sometimes the movie would be good, but the band would be okay. But the event itself would always, it was never satisfying. And it really got to me, because I was there for like 6 months, and this was a consistent pattern. And I just got so fed up. I just got so fed up with the
Where
whole
was this,
thing
Ben?
of going out. It was when I was the other place with the landlord issues.
Okay.
And I just got burnt out on events and on doing things. I was like, wow, the whole like socializing and going to things is not as fun as I fantasized it would be back when I was stuck at home.
You know, I always kind of thought when I
very
started,
disillusioned about that.
I was never really a big social gathering guy, but my senior year of college, I made, my damnedest effort to change that, and I started doing a couple things, and at the time, I thought that I wasn't really capitalizing on them enough by just, like, not being outgoing enough at the time. But I went to a lot of those, and, you know, good things did happen at them sometimes. But, yeah.
Did you become well laid?
Well, no one's well laid like Ben Saint of Patreon, but,
Nobody!
there was an acceptable amount of being laid going on.
Actually, I'm really curious. I feel like Jesse's probably the most well laid out of us, right?
He seems that way.
No, I think it's me.
Yeah,
In
I
terms
honestly
of
think it's me.
Jesse,
in terms of frequency of having sex, or
Well,
in terms of
In terms of frequency, I'm yeah.
Honestly, I need more
in
in
terms of number
numbers.
of partners, it might be you.
It's me.
How many girls have you slept with?
Like 20.
20. That's pretty good.
Okay, that's a good.
That's
number.
probably about double me, I'd say.
Catch up.
I'm working on it. You got 2 years. 2 years between us. I'll catch up. And then I'll mustard. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Well laid. I'm never gonna get over that. That's the best fucking term I've ever come up with.
What was that from?
That was a classic moment.
from the
that was a classic.
Oh yeah,
classic
Ben's
TBC
interview.
moment
That's right.
there.
All right, it feels like this thing's ending. Anyone got any last? Okay, you got more. Okay.
Wait, this was supposed to be the end of that story I was saying before. That I was very disillusioned with going out and doing things. And whenever I hear about an event, I always think like, oh, it's not actually going to be fun. It's just going to be some bluster, and it's all just bullshit. It was why I was really shocked that I actually enjoyed the fucking circus. The circus,
It's a show,
right?
man. It's designed to entertain.
Yeah, but like, on the one hand, that's true, but on the other hand, like, that's the epitome of like corny, you know, like
Yeah,
kind
but it's
of
Cirque du
like
Soleil.
silly.
It's
sort
pretty
of
legendary. I don't know.
Pointless entertainment, just spectacle for the sake of spectacle.
Oh, isn't all
really
entertainment
like,
pointless?
It really
sort of...
felt like it was anathema to everything that I would like, but I was totally wrong, and it was a great time.
Well, I don't know.
So I
Man.
guess that goes to show people at home that even sometimes you just gotta be like, well, life might suck and things might suck, and even if the majority of things suck, you still gotta do things because you gotta find the ones that don't.
You know,
suck.
this is a real
You gotta
big
subject
issue.
yourself to as
Well,
much
that's
to
the
a lot
thing.
of stuff.
A lot
it
of
really
needs.
is though. Like, sorry, it really is a shot in the dark of like whether a thing's gonna be good or bad, and I can't say that the number of things that have turned out to be good have made it worth all the times they've turned out to be bad.
But no, it's not.
it's just
On
life.
the net, things are bad, but you gotta wade through that. You gotta wade through
you gotta
that
do it
quagmire.
anyways.
Right.
You gotta wade through that quagmire so that you can find the things that are good,
remember,
and then keep them, in your heart, and focus your life.
Remember
your
that
life
scene
efforts on
in
them.
episode? I think it's episode 1 of NHK, where Sato manages to like get out of his room. He goes all the way to like the manga cafe to like apply for a job, and then he just totally it's first episode, and he chickens out and he runs. And my God, like that episode is so powerful for me. It's insane. Like that was him taking an opportunity to try to do something. And who knows if right then he had taken the job at the thing, maybe he would have, right then he would have like branched out and things would have worked out instead of having to spend, the next 24 episodes or whatever languishing in pain of being a NEET. I'm just saying that it's about, and I can't, if you've got like a mental condition, like a serious clinical thing, then it's not my expertise. I don't know. But if you're just a normal depressed kind of guy, then you got to get out there and do shit. It's the only way. Like Ben's saying, you got to wade through the shit to find the good stuff.
I definitely.
You gotta.
Sorry.
Depression is like it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
And it feeds into itself. And the only way to make it any better is to kind of ignore it and go against the instincts that it is telling you.
Yeah.
Stay at home. Don't do anything. Give up. You gotta you gotta do something that feels wrong. And just you gotta go against
because
By the way,
yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say I know everyone hates Zoe Quinn, or I know that whole thing was a big to do. But before Gamergate ever happened, I played Depression Quest and I thought it was really good.
Is that so?
And only after Gamergate exploded and I heard about Zoe Quinn did I realize, oh, she was the one who made Depression Quest? Well, holy shit. Yeah, and then I hear people being like, yeah, Zoe Quinn, the game she made was Depression Quest. It's not even a real game. Well, fuck those people, because before she was even famous, I really liked Depression Quest.
Hey, well, can't argue with that. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
And, I was going to say that the reason that we feel pain is because man is marble. He is both the sculptor and the sculptor. And to reshape himself will always cause him pain. That's a metaphor people like. I've
never heard that one.
It's a big fitness one. It's a fitness one.
So, yeah, like, I think up until, like, just maybe even, not even 2 years ago, I was absolutely the guy who would walk all the way up to the store, like, get the application, and then never return. And like that was
I've been there.
I've literally done it. Yeah, I've gone to places and like picked up an application and then just felt so weird about.
I've
the fact
done that too,
there.
man. I've done that
or,
too.
Like for a job.
Yeah, for jobs.
Yeah, or like gone somewhere to ask for an application and then not like like go to GameStop or something and then just like look at games and like then just put my tail between my legs and leave.
I've done that
like,
too,
not
man.
even talk to the management or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of that back before, but like I don't know. It's not the kind of thing I would do now, just because like. After having like worked in retail briefly, which with Target it was easy because the place wasn't even open yet, so it was like an online registration. So like,
right.
I got the job before the place even was like operating, and like through having worked in those places and like kind of understanding the mindset of the people who are actually there, which is they're not thinking about you at all. They don't care about the customers. They're just thinking about the job they're trying to do right now. And then like and then just having money has made it like, because I go out, like I said, I go out to eat like almost every day, so I constantly am out talking to people and throwing money around and like having this feeling like I belong at the place I'm in because I'm spending money on it, So I think those things have helped me a lot to like, if I had to get a job today, I would just walk into a place and sign a fucking application. Like there would be no to do about it,
If I had to get a job today, I would sell drugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would do anything to not get a job.
I think the one factor that might be an issue for me trying to do that would be like personal shame, like self-loathing about like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going back to work at fucking Best Buy or something like that. You know, like that would be tough for me.
Definitely not Best Buy. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go for something I was gonna feel ashamed about, but I think I could probably get a little better if I had to get
about
bottom
most
of
jobs.
the barrel. Then,
yeah.
Like
and I've worked some shitty jobs. I worked at some back alley pizza places. I worked at like
oh man,
just a bunch of Craigslist.
If
level
I have to
jobs.
get a job in food, then I'll fucking kill myself. Like if I have to work
all
at
of
a
my
restaurant,
jobs,
not that it's
all
bad.
Of my
it's
jobs
just...
came from Craigslist, even like the kind of good ones, like teaching physics in Poland and being that like mirror coding sputter engineer. Those both came from Craigslist.
Mine were pretty shitty for the most part, but those days are
I think,
behind me now.
To sort of like sum up this podcast, because what I think is interesting about this is the trajectory that we followed. Unintentionally, we followed this in the way we told it, but like I think all three of us, when we were teenagers or young adults, we didn't leave the house more out of like paranoia and like social awkwardness. And then there was a period when all of us tried to fight that and realized that we could go out and do things, and then we all came to the conclusion that we didn't, like, now we don't leave the house for totally different reasons. Like, before it was, I don't want to be seen by humans, so I won't leave. And then we all went, you know what? I want to be able to do fun things. And then we went out and did the fun things, realized they weren't fun, and went back into our rooms to do
one time, kinda, yeah.
I think I'm in a little bit of a different camp, because I do, I mean, I know we all long for human companionship. That's just a normal human thing. I'd like to do more things, and I could. I just don't put in the effort. I'm taking the path of least resistance, really, but just keep doing what I do every day and edit shit and doing that stuff.
I would like to get out more, but only if it's to do something interesting. I don't want to get out more just to go with my friends to some dumb show or to go sit at the beach like assholes or something and do nothing. Like, if I'm gonna go out more, it's gotta be because we all decided, like, hey, we're all gonna like really start working out for real. Let's all go to the gym
let me just tell you a quick story about this.
Or even just me and one other, like, if Victor didn't have the weirdest fucking job schedule in the universe and he wanted to start working out again and he had money, then I'd be like, hey Vic, let's go start working out again, because that's a thing to do outside. It makes me feel like a real human being,
The time when I was feeling probably the most low about myself was after I came back from college. I was taking like a class or two a semester, just chugging away, trying to finish my degree, which is almost done now, thankfully, and was working these really shitty jobs. And I was like 22 or so before TBAP started or anything, so I had no direction in life. Like one day, I was just like, I think I'll go skydiving all by myself. And so I did that. I paid like hundreds of dollars, drove out by myself to Newport Airport in Rhode Island, and just went skydiving by myself. And the fascinating thing was, everyone there was like in a group or like was there with like their significant other of many years, and like
gross.
I mean, it was clearly like a group event. But the most interesting thing of all was like the whole time that you're getting ready to go, they're pushing all these things on you, like, hey, you want to buy, like, this recording of, like, the footage of you, doing the skydiving? You want to buy, like, the landing photos that we take? Because we're going to take them anyway, but you only get to have them if you pay, like, the extra $100 for our, like, deluxe package. So, like, this was so obviously... What they were selling was, like, Facebook page headers.
Memories.
No, they were saving Facebook headers that, like, oh, look at me. I did this skydive. Like, it was so much more about having, like, showing that you had done this than actually experiencing it. Everyone else was there for a different reason than me. And I'm not saying that I was like a fucking hero or anything. I was there because I was depressed and looking for something to make me not want to kill myself.
I'll fucking say it. You're a fucking hero.
Oh, yeah?
Fuck all those guys.
All right. Someone had to say it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's not about me. It's just about them. I thought it was really interesting what everyone else was doing, and our different motivations, And that's it. That's all I got to say.
My parents are the type who every single time we even so much as go out to eat as a family, my dad he'll make a big thing out of like taking a picture of everyone at the table together and then post it on Facebook and be like, out with the family at this place. And I'm like, we literally just went out to eat. Like, there's nothing special about that. The only thing that's fun about this is that we're doing it. Learning about it online is not interesting. Like, I see things that I was involved with on Facebook, and I'm like, why is this up on Facebook? I don't care.
To impress people, did you?
It was only interesting back when I was doing it.
It's all marketing. It's marketing your life.
I mean, I don't really get the whole thing about taking pictures of stuff. I feel like if something's important and meaningful, then you'll remember it.
Yeah. And if it's not, then like when I see pictures of stuff that I don't remember, then I'm just like, why do I have a picture?
Well,
of
now
this?
hang on.
Like,
I guess there's
I don't want to say that pictures are entirely worthless, because sometimes you'll come across like kid pictures, and it'll be really fun to be like, oh man, I was like it was cool to do that.
I mean, it's cool to see like to me the most interesting thing is always what I looked like at the time. Like, not what I was doing, but the fact that there was a time where I looked that way, And I'm like,
I think they serve a function.
I can see the appeal on that level. And if there is something that you don't remember, it can be interesting and maybe edifying to be like, oh wow, I did that. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about all this stuff that I'm seeing.
This Facebook culture that we're kind of in now, like, propagates the idea that like everyone but me has such an amazing life, and I think it could really it could be a big pressure on people who are like NEETs. They'll be like, oh God, look at me. What am I gonna do? These are heroes out in the real world.
It may be like that for some people, but for me, for someone like me, living, as we've said, an alternative lifestyle.
Yes.
I've just evolved beyond it. Some idiot like you, Nate, might see someone on Facebook be doing cool things and be like, wow, that person's got a great life. Might see someone on Facebook
here's the funny thing, though.
with their family or like doing something with quote unquote loved one.
No, here's the funny thing.
I look at that and I'm like, man, that looks dumb. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not.
That's
I'm
more.
not that person.
I feel more like Ben. I'm always like, this is stupid. Why are they posting this? But like, the funny thing is, I've raised this point with my dad because I've seen people like very emphatically against like. Showing how awesome your life is on Facebook for the reasons like what Nate's saying. Like Nerd Writer, before he became like big and popular, like he used to do vlogs, and he had one whole vlog about like how Instagram was like slowly being ruined because people were treating it like Facebook when it used to be like artistic or something, and he was like, we have to stop people from just posting like selfies and stuff on
can't be
on
done,
Instagram
mate.
or whatever.
Can't be done.
And I thought it was interesting, and then I brought this up to my dad one time where I was telling him, like, that, like, a lot of the internet, like, really shames this kind of Facebook posting. And he was like, the way I see it, I'm giving people something to aspire to.
Ooh.
Like,
okay.
Because my dad is the type who, like, a lot of...
It's a little egotistical, but okay.
Yeah, but, like, a lot of my dad's life improvement is from... He loves, like, egotistical people and, like, reading books about... Like, he has several Trump books, like, that Trump wrote.
Cool.
Like, he has a huge collection of nonfiction of, like, anyone who's successful, he wants to read about them,
Yeah, sure.
And, like,
sure.
he sees other people's success, and he thinks, I want to be that guy. And so he tries to, like, learn about their success. And, like, when he sees people, like, doing something fun and cool, then he's like, oh, I want to get to a point where I can do that, And so he sees it that way, that people will look at his Facebook and want to, better themselves so they can do the fun things that he's posting about,
Yeah, man. That makes sense.
The thing, when I see someone, maybe this is just my fucked up mindset, but when I see someone doing something fun, my reaction is to be like, well, it's probably not that fun.
Yeah, that's how I think too.
It's understandable.
That's why it does. Like, I get my dad's mindset, and I feel like that way about people who do like jobs I want to do, like anyone who's successful at YouTubing. Like, I look at them and I'm like, I want to be like them. But like when I see like photos of people like, we're at Disney World and it's awesome, and I'm always like, it was probably awesome for 5 minutes, and most of it's probably fucking boring.
You're smiling in this picture, but I know you were waiting in line for like 2 hours before this, and you paid $80 a day for cotton candy.
My dad is very easily excitable, so like I know that he legitimately has a great time wherever he goes, and I usually am like, just like, for me, because again, all I think about when I'm out somewhere is like, is this better than what I could have been doing?
Well, see,
like,
that's the thing. A lot of people don't even, that doesn't even cross their mind, Like, most people, I won't say most people, but like, is ignorance truly bliss? To just go through your life, probably yes. It's probably just like a better way to live your life.
We went to this place called Motor World, and it was like, just like, it's like a place where you like ride around like little go-karty type things, and there's like a bunch of different courses, and it was like, it was hot as shit. No one else was there. It was like the place was pretty much desolate because it was like, relatively early on a weekday, so like everyone who was working there looked like they didn't want to be there. The place is dirty and unkempt. Everything's way more expensive than it needs to be, which, I mean, my dad was paying for all of it and he didn't care that it was expensive, but we were all just like, I'm the type who, even if someone else is paying for something I'm doing, if I think it wasn't worth it for them, then it bothers me. Where I'm like, I did not get a level of enjoyment out of this that you should have paid that much money for it, And so like, we were at Motor World, and it's just like, I mean, it was a thing to go do all day on a day when I had no other plans, but like, I really left the place like, we have spent hundreds of dollars here, and I would have been just as happy not having gone,
I remember as a youth when our family went to Disney World. We went to like one or two. We went to Disney World, I think, twice. As kids.
I think so.
And I remember the second time, I was probably like 14. I remember my dad just being like, "Oh, we're having a great time. Yeah, we're at Disney World." And I remember just being a little shit and being like, I don't feel good. I'm not having a good day. I'm not having fun. I was such an edgy teen.
Parents should just kill their kids, you know. Just,
they should all
do it.
I'm living proof that you're totally right. I'm still an edgy teen. I've decided. Yeah. I've recently come to the conclusion that I'm as edgy a teen as I ever was, and I probably always will.
I think. Like, whenever any family event I see, I always see it as being like Vacation, like National Lampoon's Vacation, where it's like the dad just desperately wants to do something that he thinks will make everybody have fun and be happy, but without an understanding of what anyone really wants to do. And, like, because you're told it will be fun to go to Disney World, then you want it to be fun, but then you get there and it's not fun. And as a kid, it's harder for you to, like, you know, like, express that and, like, you know, because you know that it costs a lot of money and that for you to be disappointed
It probably could be fun if you go with the right people,
right.
and if you're not, like, if it's not such like a rare and valuable thing that you feel like pressured to have fun, then it's probably fun.
That's my favorite thing about being an adult is that I can now go and like spend all this money on whatever, and it's not a big deal because I was prepared for it to not be good, you know, or like or like when I was dating my ex-girlfriend, like I really wanted to go to Disney World with her because she's a huge Disney fan, and like there was nothing I could imagine that would have been more fun for the two of us than to go see a bunch of cool Disney shit. Because she would have been like losing her mind, you know.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we broke up, I had this moment of realization that I was like, I no longer have any desire to go to Disney World. Because as awesome as Disney World sounds like it might be, going with someone who likes Disney, it would probably be the coolest thing ever. But without that, it's like, I don't give a fuck about Disney. All I'm going to go is like, I'm going to look and I'm going to see like, oh, hey, it's Cinderella. I didn't like that movie. Well, moving on. You know?
That's a strong
Beauty and the
6,
Beast.
maybe.
It was a 5. Yeah, like that's exactly how I would be if I went there, you know?
I'd say, hey, Cinderella, your movie fucking sucks.
Something is a little bit crass and gross to me about the idea of a place like Disney World where, you're told, commanded really by the marketing that, you know, this is a fun place where you will have fun, and you like buy into that idea and you go there and you have fun just as you were told to. I know that to a certain extent all forms of having fun. Well, to a certain extent, all forms of having fun require you to buy into the idea that you're having fun.
That's true.
So it's not like it's unique to this, but something about the fact that this is like a marketed product, a place of fun, to which you're like, yes, fun sounds good. Let's go and have some.
I'll tell you what, Ben,
something is very weird about that to me.
In my career as like a horribly cynical anime critic guy. In the last, particularly lately, like after I went through that phase in like the early part of this year where I wrote a bunch of negative videos, then like there was a period where like it finally got to me that so many people were like, do you just hate fun? And I'm like, and I had this moment of like, do I hate fun? Like,
do I hate fun?
Do I know what fun is? And it happened when I was watching Myriad Colors Phantom World, and I almost wrote a whole video about this, but I ended up writing something else about that show instead.
I would click on a video titled "Do I Hate Fun?"
Well, like, because and it was because there was a moment in the show that I could tell was engineered to be fun, but I did not find it fun.
Yes, yep.
And then I realized that I could identify a similar moment in another show that I did find fun and compare them and say like why one worked and not the other. And ever since then, I now have like, when I feel legitimate fun, when I watch something and I have fun, then I can truly cherish it because I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm smiling. I'm watching something and it's just making me smile. This is what fun is. I know fun. Dude, I can see fun. I see you fun. I see you over there.
That's what it was like at the fucking circus. There was like some big muscular dudes like bouncing each other on this giant high wire like trampoline thing. The suspended, they were flying like 30 feet in the air, and like I was just sitting there like I was on the edge of my seat like I cannot believe how high these dudes are getting. How high do you even have to do these stunts, just to do something like that? and I mean, I think to have genuine fun, you have to. I mean, it's okay to be told to have fun. It's okay that you're like go in with the expectation of having fun, but you have to in that moment you have to forget that you're supposed to be having fun.
Right.
Yes, mandated fun does not work.
I gotta say, one of the coolest things. This has been one of the best things about the Crunchy Roulette game that I started the other day on Digibro After Dark, which I just put out episode 2 of, I think today, because it's a game where I just hit the random button on Crunchyroll and I watch anything that I've never seen before, and like. In the course of this, because I never have any expectations. It's all shows I know nothing about, pretty much. Right. And, like, when I get a show that I have no expectations for and it ends up, like, being a lot of fun, then it's, like, such a surprise that it's like, whoa. Like, yesterday, me and Shade did it together. Like, we watched 6 shows together, and the third one was an OVA called Cosplay Complex from, like, 2002, and I'd never heard of it, and I knew nothing about it. And it was a fucking blast. And, like, I was laughing the whole time. Like, I thought it was fucking hilarious. And I never heard of this thing. And I was just like, what? This is fun. This is what fun is.
When something's good that you didn't expect to be good, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah, definitely.
In my opinion.
Oh, man, these character designs are pretty tight.
Yeah, it was...
You looking them up?
I like the pink one.
It's like a 3-episode OVA. We watched the first episode, and it was just... I mean, I literally thought, like, I didn't know anything about it. I was like, this could be total garbage, and it was not. It was a lot of fun, and I liked it.
Awesome.
So, yeah. I guess that about wraps up this podcast, yeah?
Oh, we've covered a lot of topics. We went from pissing to just the concept of fun in general.
A lot of pissing. There was a lot of
pissing. We touched on the nature of sort of depression and the forces that keep you locked in your room and what you may or may not choose to do about them. Yeah, good stuff.
This was a blast. I've had a great time here today.
Yeah.
If only Hippo could have been here.
Yeah. True.
Yeah,
well,
his shitty internet is fucking him up. He couldn't be here today, but we'll get him.
You guys should get me your audio as soon as possible so I can upload this tonight, since I'm not going to be able to finish the podcast that we recorded last week until probably next week. So
God damn. Let me say real quick. I uploaded a vlog on my fucking YouTube channel. I Ben Saint am putting out YouTube videos now.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to like subscribe to you on the Procrastinators channel. And,
yeah, good idea.
I think I already subbed me.
Oh, okay.
On there.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah, go and click my little icon here and go and listen to me talk about art and stuff, viewers.
Yep, and buckle your fucking seatbelts for next week when I'll finally drop the epic bombshell that was last week's recording. Man. The 3.5 hour argument over what is the color yellow. So.
Among other things.
That was not the whole thing, but it was the worst part of it.
And the best part. It was the worst and best part.
It depends on your definition.
No, it was just the worst.
All right, see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be working right now. I'm supposed to be working right now. But I'm not working. I'm doing nothing. My dick I'm jerking. Myself I'm sucking. I am an asshole. I am a stupid. I've got a deadline. Don't wanna do it. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm supposed to be making money. I'm supposed to be creating funny things that the people gladly will pay for. Artistic genius, that's what they came for. Instead, I'm tweeting, hashtag repeating. That's why there's no heat and holes in the ceiling. Yeah, it's quite the burden. It's a hard knock life, being a genius.